It's like you're like brewing a potion or something.
How do you know I'm not? If there's one thing I know, it's that people love a chicken thigh. And there's another thing I know, it's that very few people will go to the store, buy an artichoke, trim the artichoke, steam the artichoke, eat the artichoke, peel the leaves away from the heart, enjoy the heart. Like, it's not a ton of people. I feel like I'm always trying to get people to eat more artichokes because it's a vegetable that I grew up eating. I am from California, thank you for noticing. The good news is that artichoke hearts come in a can. And it's a really good ingredient. And I was thinking the other day, why don't I use them more in the winter months when there isn't a ton of produce around? Like, vegetables are not really happening yet. This dish is basically a skillet chicken. It's really important that you use bone-in skin on chicken for two reasons. One, I think it tastes better. Two, a lot of what we're gonna end up cooking in the skillet is gonna cook in the chicken fat that we render from the thighs. And it gives you this like deeply savory chickeny wine sauce that just makes itself in the skillet while it's resting in the oven. And it is so crazy good. It has like a very French feel to me. I'm gonna butcher this word. Baragoule? Thank you. Merci, Yvonne. Again with the tab. I feel like these are like the secret killers. They're sharp. They'll get you. Well, that's fine. When my chicken thighs are searing, I can finish cutting and prepping all my vegetables. Aren't they cute?
Kind of scary, if I'm honest.
How can you be scared by this? Little rosebud, little cutie. He's so sweet. I think like the big, thorny, like physical artichoke. In the edit room, you can now show us a picture of an artichoke because I don't have any with me. Yeah, I get it. That's intimidating and scary, but like thorns have been trimmed. This is the heart of a baby artichoke, so there's no like chokey choke happening. I would never say that these take the place of a real artichoke. That it's like with beans, right? Like I love to cook a bean from dried and simmer it in the pot, but I also love a canned bean, and I don't think that appreciation for like a really fine raw ingredient excludes you from enjoying and appreciating like the canned version of that. Technically, I feel like I should be searing my thighs right now while I'm prepping these vegetables. I don't know why I just kind of went in here. I went all in. We want kind of like nice wedges. There's a question that you're gonna ask, and it's, can I make this with boneless skinless chicken thighs? And the answer is, you can do a lot of things, but it doesn't mean you should. There are certain recipes and things that boneless skinless meat is really good for, but this isn't that. I want you to experiment with new ways of cooking chicken, and searing a chicken thigh is pretty much the easiest way to start. You're basically putting a flat surface area on another flat surface area, making contact with it, waiting for it to get brown, and flipping it over. And instead of like a rip-roaring heat, I will do closer to medium-high, medium heat. With a recipe like this that I'm finishing in the oven, I'm not worried about them cooking through stovetop. I'm doing 4. This little buddy I'll save for a rainy day. Ew. Kind of like a watch pot, doesn't boil. Well, a watched chicken thigh doesn't brown. If you try to check a chicken thigh before it's ready to be flipped, it will stick and you'll rip the skin and it'll be hideous. And that's what we're looking for. One even layer of beautiful golden brown skin. And they are crispy. So we'll let them brown on the other side just to give that raw side a bit of color. It just is helpful to throw them into a hot oven for 5 to 10 minutes just to make sure that they're cooked through. Ow! I'm never cooking a chicken thigh again. How dare you? Anything for the thigh. I'm gonna drain the fat from this before we add everything, just because it is a lot. The fat doesn't have to go home, but it can't stay here. They look very good and very golden. Be careful. You want to leave like another 2 tablespoons, and you definitely want to leave all those bits in there. Bits, 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 bits. So I'm gonna add the chicken thighs back to the pan. And they don't need to like make contact with anything. You're just kind of putting them back in. And then any juices. It's important that they go skin side back up because they're going to a dry oven, and when we add the liquid, it's only gonna come up to like not even halfway to the chicken. So we wanna keep that top skin dry and crispy. So for this, I call for a dry white wine. This is a pretty cheap sort of run-of-the-mill peak pool. Not something I necessarily want to drink from a glass, but wouldn't not drink from a glass. As in, I probably will drink from a glass. Doesn't look like much right now. This is more like a shallow braise. We're making more just like a one pan sauce. One skillet pan sauce. Skillet sauce in a pan. I don't know what. We're making a, I don't know. We're making a pan sauce. So in she goes. And at which point our chicken will be perfectly cooked through. Our skin will still be crispy. The sauce will be reduced. And we're gonna eat our chicken dinner. Can you smell the chicken? That's, I don't know. You cannot. I can. You're not looking for any like major changes in here. The number one way that I've burned myself in the history of my cooking career has pretty much always been grabbing the handle of a hot skillet. If there are other people around, or even just to like remind myself, drape the towel over the handle, which like to me signals it's hot, because I just see a skillet and I'll just grab it willy-nilly and like scorch my palm, which has happened more times than I care to admit. You could serve this right out of the skillet, but again, because this handle's kind of hot, you might want to transfer it to a serving platter. It looks like I live in a castle in a fairy princess land right now. Like, why is this light so nice? Oh my God, Scott's gonna win a Golden Globe for this. And then the sauce, which tastes crazy good. It's like really tangy, very chickeny. Ah, I love it. This is pretty perfect as is, I think. The only thing I love more than artichokes and mint together are artichokes and mint and sumac. I am gonna use it because I have it, I always have it. It's really tart, it's kind of floral. You're not gonna miss it if it's not there, but if it's there, you'll appreciate it. Feels very springy. So like when you just can't take it anymore, this is a really good dish to remind yourself that it will be warm again one day. This chicken, you know what's. Really embracing the texture and the sweetness of the onion when it's kind of just cooked, and very well rounded, very delicious, very simple, and super, super satisfying. I love it. Chicken, I love it. I love the idea of my whole thing being like having people over and cooking for others, but like the reality of my lifestyle is that I mostly cook for myself these days.